Hey everyone, this is Jeremy Scherer, coach for C26 Triathlon, and I'm here with Nicki Leo, another one of our fantastic coaches. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the camps C26 has to offer and our experiences and some memories and what's coming up. So going to have a little conversation about that, hopefully answer some questions maybe some people have and give a little bit more insight as to what the C26 camps look like. So Nicki, how many camps have you been to? Any idea if you had to add it up over the years?
Oh my goodness gracious. I cannot, okay, I should have had this answer before we started, of course, but you know me. I like to do things, on the fly. So, first of all, I'm happy to be here today doing this podcast with you. I think it's a good, I think it's a good time and it's a good chance for people to get to know some of the other coaches and to talk about some of the other things that happen behind the scenes at C26. So I know for sure I have been to 4, 5 run camps, and I was scheduled to go to the Clearmont camp, which was supposed to be in Florida in 2020. That one got canceled. So instead, I ended up going to our first Texas camp that we had. That was a tri camp at that time. And I have been to the Nashville camp once. I'm going again next week, or no, 2 weeks from now. So how many is that? 7 or 8? 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Oh, no, and swim camp. I can't forget swim camp. I've been to 2 swim camps as
Okay.
well. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just kind of spend my time going camp to camp.
I love it. You're not alone. I feel like some of the other coaches do, and a lot of athletes do the same thing. Then you can sprinkle in those team races, and we can all see each other about once every month or two, it seems like.
It is. We become very dependent upon each other when we do these kinds of things. But I think that's really the cool part about it, right? The first time I went to camp, I went as a friend with to another person who was already a C26 athlete, right? And I had just thought about starting on with C26, and she's like, "You got to come to run camp. It's just so much fun." And I'm like, "We're gonna just be out in the middle of the woods and we're gonna run. I mean, that's all we're gonna do." And she's like, "Yeah, it's fun." I'm like, "Okay, running every day, all day." I mean, even to somebody like me, that didn't sound like a real fun. But and I'm kind of shy, so I I was worried. I was worried if I'd fit in and those kinds of things. And I got there, and the minute I walked in the door, I mean, Robbie just came up to me and gave me a big hug, and I have to say that's one of the best things he does besides coach swimming and be a smart ass. He gives really great hugs. So and then the rest is history. You and I met, and I watched you run away from everybody all week, you as you do, and it was great. I mean, it's so much fun. You just don't think about having that kind of fun as an adult.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I do remember that first camp where we met. Was a great experience. Let's not fool anyone. I certainly did not run away from everybody. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but
Okay, everybody but Dave.
no,
Everybody.
nobody runs away from Dave. That's for sure.
No,
So
no.
let's talk a little bit about the types of camps we offer. You hit on it based on some of the ones you've gone to, and I've been to. I think I added it up. I think I've been to about 6 camps myself, mostly run camps. I know you and I are both going to be in Nashville for that tri camp in a couple of weeks, like you mentioned. So we tend
Right.
to do really at this point as a team about 4 different types of camps. I feel like we'll do some triathlon camps, right, which is going to include obviously swim, bike, and run, group swims, runs, rides, instruction, some other classroom instruction, things like that. And then all of them are going to have tons of downtime and bonding and whatnot. But so we have some triathlon related camps. We've mentioned run camp. We do run camps typically twice a year, which is, as the name implies, right, strictly focused on running. Running, lots of running, lots of volume, but at I would say at a pace and at an effort then that people can sustain, right? That running, whether it's
Sure.
1, 2, a couple of runs a day and different distances. So, and then
And sorry to interrupt you, but
you're good.
and it's don't let just running scare you away from those, right?
Oh,
Because there's other things that we do, and there's a lot of hiking and those kinds of things. And some people just don't consider themselves runners. So why would they go to a run camp?
yeah.
So yeah. So don't, you got to expand your mind about what that would look like, I think. Sorry
Well,
to
and that's
interrupt.
no, and you're right on, and that's a great point, right? Because we call it run camp, and sure, there's quite a bit of running, but like you said, there's walking, there's hiking, there's the plunge in the creek everybody's probably heard of, but also even if we're all going to do a run, there's a lot of instruction. Hey, let's have this group take it at a certain pace. Let's have this
Right.
group do a certain type of terrain. So we've had people show up, frankly, and run, walk almost the whole camp, and hike almost the whole camp, and people coming off of injuries that have to take it kind of easy. So yeah, you're spot on, right? Let's not
Yeah.
pretend that you have to be some out of control, crazy trail runner or endurance athlete to fit in
And
there. That's for sure.
you can be that kind of trail runner too, and we will make fun of you.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's right. Don't show up too good or too strong,
Don't
right?
you look too good. As long as you're not faster than Robbie, you're okay.
Right, for sure. He doesn't like that. And then swim camp or swim school, right? We've started doing a few of those, which is obviously mostly swim instruction. And when we do this other stuff too, there's usually group runs and things like that happen, right, with the people.
Right.
But yeah, swim camp or swim school, obviously mostly swim instruction. And then what I haven't done that I'm interested in, I think I could even talk my wife into it maybe, is Mike and Emily are starting to do some retreats up at their place, right? So they
Yeah.
live on a fantastic lake. Looks like it's picture perfect for swimming, kayaking, the paddle boards. They've got beaches. They've got great, sounds like areas to run there and bike there. So
Yeah.
they've started doing some kind of wellness retreats or camps that includes all that activity. But then I think they're doing some sauna, yoga, meditation, stuff like that too. So any thoughts on those, either different types of camps or other feedback on those?
Yeah, when Mike talked about doing something like that, I thought it was a great idea because obviously in my real life, what I have to do for a living, I have to work and I'm a wellness coordinator. So my love and passion is in wellness. And I really don't like for people to think that wellness is just about physical fitness, right? It's about a lot of other things. It's a combination of dimensions. I love exploring Mike's mind and trying to figure out what he's working on at then. And so I think he's had two so far. And I've talked to a couple people that went to them and they just loved it, and I'm like, okay, is Wisconsin really that fun? It's way up there. And they're like, oh my God, Nikki, it was so great. And I think the other thing about the wellness that might be a little bit different from other camps is um, it's a smaller, more intimate kind of group because it is at his house, right? And it's at his house, yeah, at
Yeah.
his lake house. The swim camps are great. I mean, I never in my life would I think that I would go to a camp where that's what I did all week is just swim. And it's and then by the end of the week, you're like, I did it. I can't believe I did. I just swam like 30,000 yards. I swam 6 miles this week or something like that. And I didn't drown.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think, I mean, if I had to pick a favorite, it's really hard to pick a favorite, right? Because they're all different. And some of them might suit people in other ways. But I mean, that's why it's good to try them all out. Um, we are, I know, looking at trying to expand and maybe have a women's camp. Now that we've got some women coaches, not that we wouldn't let you join us, but there might be some women who are interested in going to a women's only camp and just, having topics that surround women's health related issues. And again, bringing in that wellness component. So not just treating our team like, I mean, they're all athletes, right? But first they're people. So we want to treat them like people first and then athletes. So I think the differences in types of camps, I think that can really be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, and I think that kind of brings up a good point too. So a couple of things. One, is we are always kind of looking for other ideas, right? Or other ways to expand or what's going to make this better.
For sure.
Oftentimes after camp, the coaches will talk, we'll ask for feedback, from the other campers that were there. Hey, what did we like? What could we improve on? What wasn't your favorite? And so like you said, right, we've had employees from Garmin, at a run camp. We've had nutritionists at camps and give talks before. And, so it's not the same rinse and repeat. We're looking at, okay, hey, what worked, what went well, what did people really enjoy? Maybe what could we add that would add some benefit, on top of the stuff we're normally doing. And I wanted to go back a little bit to something you said earlier. You mentioned maybe your experience at swim camp, right? And I think you said something to the effect of you never thought you'd go to a camp and swim this much or do this. And I think that's a good point, right? I felt the same way about the first run camp I went to, and especially if you try to tell somebody about it, right? That's where you have like those awkward conversations with your friends or
Totally.
family, or yeah.
Totally. You're going on
"Oh,
vacation to run?
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go to the Tennessee, in the middle of the woods, right in the
Right.
middle of nowhere, and I'm going to run a bunch and whatever." And people look at you like, "Okay, you've lost your damn mind, right? This is a terrible idea." Um, but I think kind of what you got back to is people maybe need to take that leap of faith, right? And get outside that comfort zone and get outside that box. And I think for me personally, and I assume you would agree with this, we've had a lot of conversations about this, at camp is where we've met a lot of great people, a lot of good friends, some of our best friends at this point, people we talk to sometimes on a weekly or even daily basis, now. So these camps are very much inclusive, whether you're a beginner, whether you're an expert, whether you're anywhere in the middle. And it's really about the experience. And so, yeah, don't let the title or the description or anything scare you, right? Try it,
Right.
get out of your comfort zone, and probably something you might really find you love or enjoy. How about a favorite camp memory? Whether something funny, something off the wall, something that really left an impression on you. How about a solid camp memory?
Oh goodness, there have been so many.
I tell you what,
Gosh.
I'll start
Okay, you start. You start. Go ahead.
because it involves you.
Oh
Uh,
gosh.
I believe this was the first run camp we met at, and we kind of hit it off. Our personalities, kind of go well
They are.
together, and you're super easy to get along with and talk to and all that stuff. And so we had, been in this group at this run camp for, I don't know, 2-3 days, whatever it was, maybe 4 days. And this was near the end. And typically at the at the end of run camp, we usually do a longer run or race or whatever you want to call it, right? And again, there's options for everybody, right? So the way this one was set up is we had a loop we were going to run. I think maybe the loop was, I don't know, that 5 miles, 6 miles, something like that, right? And so everybody kind of set their own goal. Hey, am I going to do 1 loop? Am I going to do 2, 3, 4, right? Everybody kind of goes into it thinking, okay, I'm going to run, so many. And the loop is set up where, there's oftentimes you may be running the same direction as another runner, or you may be running, opposite directions, or you pass each other or see each other. And so oftentimes, right, when people pass, hey, you're doing a great job, you're looking good, keep it up, how you feeling, whatever, right? Little words of encouragement as you do. And so you and I were coming to a time where we were, we were going to be passing each other. And
You're faster than me.
this is stop it. And this is kind of, well, we were going opposite directions, actually.
Yeah.
And this was pretty deep into this run. I think I was like near the end of my, I want to say, 3rd lap. And so I was maybe 15 or 18 miles or something in. And mind you, we had just met a few days ago. I did not know you that well. And you asked me, hey, how are you feeling? Which is a perfectly normal question to ask, right? How you feeling? I'm feeling great or bad or whatever, And in my mind, again, many hours into this run and whatever, I thought I'm actually feeling pretty good. This is all going through my mind. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty decent. maybe I'm at the end of this third lap, maybe I'll try for a fourth, stretch this thing out. I was kind of counting on 3, wasn't sure on 4. And all this is going through my mind. And in a split second, the words that came out of my mouth to you were, I'm feeling frisky. And in my mind, it meant like, I'm feeling pretty good and I think I'm going to keep going. But as soon as they left my mouth, I thought, that was an absolutely terrible thing to say to this woman I just met like 3 days ago. That was like, and so then I'm having all these thoughts. Oh my gosh, that was inappropriate. Why did I even say that? What the heck? Like, why did that come to my mind? Why couldn't I have just said I'm feeling good or terrible or whatever?
Yeah.
And so then, of course, I'm not going to see you for like, I don't know, 2 hours or whatever. And that's all I thought about for the next hour and a half or 2 hours. And I don't know if you remember, literally the minute like I finished and you were there and you were done. And like the first thing I did was basically apologize to you, half crying and like half with tears in my eyes. And it was funny, but I felt bad and I didn't and of course you took it fine, right? Like you didn't take offense.
Right.
You knew what I was getting at, whatever. But I ran with that thought for about an hour and a half that Nicki Leo probably thinks I'm a weirdo for sure. And I don't know what happened.
I think what I did is I went, something like that. No, I'm just kidding. I knew it started, as soon as you started talking, I knew you were going to come up with that one. That's awesome memory. Out on the course, there's lots of things like that happen, and you kind of get in your head, right? And it's a good place to be. You kind of want to escape, but you don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. And again, with my goodness gracious, my sailor mouth, you just never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So I'm pretty quiet usually. And usually I end up, there goes my dog. Sorry.
No worries.
We'll have to cut that out. Usually, you're out there and you're in your own head, and I don't remember a lot of things. The things that I remember most from run camp are the conversations that happen in between the runs. Probably because I am one of those people that's in my head all the time when I'm out there. And probably one of the greatest experiences was you guys introduced me to all these games. Like, I didn't grow up playing board games or cards or anything like that. And I don't remember what game we were playing, but somehow a conversation came up about why my teenage son takes such long showers, and all of you had to sit there and explain to me why a teenage boy would take long showers. And I'm like, well, no, he's just really dirty. I wasn't getting it. I mean, it was just totally went over my head. And so those are moments when I'm like, oh my gosh, my innocence is gone. And I learned so much, right? I laugh so hard. Those are the things that I mean, like the experience that you just shared. I mean, it makes me crack up every time I just even think about it. And sometimes when I just look at you, that's what I think about. And it makes me laugh and it makes me feel good. This year I had a bad experience. I took a digger to the head and into the river, mouth right into a rock, chipped my tooth, chipped both my front teeth, and had a big old fat lip. So looked like I had natural Botox. It was great. But everybody, I don't know what they expected me to do. Like, I guess it was bleeding and stuff. And I got up and they're like, you're going to keep running? And I'm like, yeah, that's only the first loop. I'm doing 4. And they're like, oh, okay. And so that's another part about being at camp, I think. And maybe you don't feel it immediately, but I did feel it the very first camp. I remember sitting at a table and you were at that table. And we were talking probably about porta potties or something like that. That's typical with running. And I said, this is the first time in my life I've sat at a table and like talked about this kind of stuff and people get what I'm talking about. I'm like, I feel totally normal right now. This is the first time in my life I feel normal. And it's the greatest feeling ever. And again, I'm not an extroverted person. I was so scared to be there. I was so worried. I talk in my sleep, so I was a little worried about what I might say in my sleep. But I mean, it's a 10 out of 10 every time. I like the ones where we are together. There are some that just is not conducive to do that, but
Sure.
we still make up for that by having classroom time and eating together and things. I think that's the second thing we do the best is eat together. All the camps are about food, right?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I think you are, I think you're spot on. You know, we are as a team, right? We're basically kind of kindred spirits, right? We all have this this goal to be, as we say on the podcast, right, happy and healthy, and you know that goal we attack through fitness, and so then getting together, we can have those conversations that we can't have maybe with our coworkers or some family or friends. Like you said, they don't get it, but at one of
Right.
these camps, you can ask anything, bring up anything, and it's all relatable, right? There's nothing that somebody's going to mention that we're all going to stand up and say that's crazy. We've never heard of that, or we've never done that, or we've never been there, right? All those collective experiences for sure. We've had, we understand, we get it. We want to have those conversations. So before we wrap up here, so a couple of upcoming camps. We do have Nashville in a couple of years. I did talk to Summer. She said somebody could still slide into that one last minute, depending on when this is released. And then in July, we have Madison Triathlon Camp, Wisconsin Triathlon Camp coming up. And then in the future, we don't have any open registrations currently, but in the future, we will continue to release camps as we kind of get those scheduled and blocked off and timeframes and things like that. So expect to see some more run camps, you know, that are available. Swim school, I'm sure Mike and Emily will continue to do those wellness retreats. And we'll announce that stuff on the podcast. It'll be certainly on the website. If you do have any questions on camps, ask any of the coaches. You know, people can hop in the Facebook group, ask questions there. Obviously, you'd be happy to answer anything. I'd be happy to answer anything. Any other thoughts on upcoming camps or stuff we've got in the works at all?
I think there's a lot of great things because we have a lot of great ideas and we've got people to help out. You know, Summer's not by herself now. We've also got coaches that are spread out across the United States. So I would look forward to having maybe some different camps in different areas of the U.S. besides what they've been in the past. Same with the team races. We look to spread out and, as they say, you know, take over the world, and I think that's a great thing to do because not everybody can go to Wisconsin. Not everybody can make it to Tennessee. You know, it's one of those things where they really do. Maybe they want to stay where, you know, on their side, in their neck of the woods, as they say. The other thing I would say is if you're worried and it's fear that's keeping you from going to these camps or signing up for these camps or not knowing anyone, I can tell you that 90% of the people in my life at this age I've met at these camps, and they are some of the best people and best friends that I have. And they have made the world a difference for me. And they, especially lately, I mean, they just check in on me. They make sure I'm doing all right. It's not just, you're not going to just go to a camp, do your thing and leave. That's not how it works. There's relationships that are built. So I think that's pretty cool. And then the other thing is yeah, if you have great ideas, let us know. At the last run camp, some of the women were like, well, what do you think about a women's only camp? And I'm like, well, do you guys just not want to be around the guys or what? You know, they're like, no, you know, just there's very specific things that happen to women's health that, you know, probably a man wouldn't want to sit around and listen to. So, you know, why not? And I think as we grow, as we get the new hub, you know, there might be some chances for that as well. So, yeah, throw in the ideas because I know Robbie and Mike are looking at all of them.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And one other thing, we kind of both touched on some team races for a minute there. We typically do about 4 team races a year. They're also going to be spread out, you know, kind of throughout the country, different distances and things like that. Unless it was up to Snell, he would do 16 team races per year, but we're pretty well set.
They're unofficial team races.
Yeah. But we're set on about 4 a year at this point. But for me, my first in-person interaction with the team was actually at a team race, right? And so that can be a little bit of a stepping stone also, because sure, you think, okay, maybe I go to this camp and I'm 3, 4, 5, 6 days with these people 24/7. I went to a team race, and that was a great way to meet a lot of teammates, right, at dinner or at a little chat or at breakfast. But it was not nearly as long as a camp per se. I had my own room and all that, and so that was kind of like dipping my toe in the water a little bit. And then all of a sudden, I realized, like, yeah, these people are fantastic. That this was cool. I'm glad I did this. And then next, right, I did a camp a few months later, and then it's just snowballed from there. So yeah, that's another way. If you're going to be at any of our team races or team events, whether you're on the team or not, certainly you can always stop by, chat with Mike, Robbie, any of the coaches for sure. So that's
how it
another
happened
way to
for
get
me
involved.
too. Did you know that? That's how I met them as well, at a team race.
Okay,
I was on another team,
I
but
do know that.
I went to your team events because my friend was on your team, Louisville,
Mhm.
and I sat back, and I'm like, and I looked over to my friend, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And that was in October, or November, and then I turned right around and I was at camp by March or February. So
Mhm.
yeah, same thing. It was a sell.
Yeah, I get it. And when I walked in to the hotel lobby, when I got there, there was a handful of people, right, that were around and kind of chatting, and Robbie was there. And you mentioned it earlier. Robbie gave me the biggest hug ever, like we were long lost friends, and I'd never met him in person before at this
Yeah.
point in my life. First time I'd ever laid eyes on him. I didn't even know how he knew who the hell I was. I'm like, how did you
Mhm.
even pick me out? Like, I wasn't wearing a jersey with my name on it, and somehow he knew, and get over here, and big huge bear hug. So yeah, you're spot on. That
Yeah.
guy does know how to
That's
hug.
that's the magic. I think there's a lot of magic happening with this team, and I think it's only going to get better. These camps are a great way to start if you want to start that way. If you don't want to start that way and you want to start at a team race, you can do that too. Or like you said, just listen to the podcasts, call one of the coaches, have a conversation. It doesn't mean that you're looking for coaching. I mean, we're open for conversation as well. I mean, that's the point of this team, is to be good ambassadors. So yeah, it's
Yeah, you
exciting.
got it. You got it. That's fantastic. So yeah, we can wrap up here.
Okay.
Obviously, people can hop on the website, C26triathlon.com. You can check out the camps on the website, the gear on the website. You can find all the coaches on the website. You can email us, like Nicki said. You can call us. We're happy to chat, answer questions, any feedback, any help we can give. So, Nicki, it was great to chat with you here this afternoon. I appreciate all your input and feedback, and
Yeah.
hopefully you're staying cool
Anytime.
out there in Colorado. You got a heat wave going on right now, so hopefully you're
We
doing
do.
well.
We do. Yeah. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It was a blast. Enjoy yourself there in Indiana. You going up to the lake house, and probably got good plans for the weekend.
We are,
So
yep,
yeah,
we are headed
awesome.
up north. So I will,
Awesome.
yeah, and I will see you in a couple of weeks in Nashville.
Sounds good. Take care, my friend.
Sounds great. You too.
Okay, bye.
See ya.